sure. So this video, when we used to go somewhere variants, was my response to COVID, and it was, I worked with material that I had amassed over the years. I take a lot of still images and a fair amount of moving image. And my practice is about dislocation and displacement. And obviously during COVID there were restrictions to where we could go. So I wanted to make this piece of work that felt quite claustrophobic in some respects and quite free in other respects, which I think kind of mimics how we felt in COVID anyway. And so it was a fight against that, and also it was probably the first time I'd actually made a bespoke soundtrack for a piece of work, and the soundtrack is called Invisible Future, and I thought that was quite interesting because obviously COVID presented an invisible future to us. We didn't know what was going to happen. So much of this film also can take place in your head, in as much as you might think where you want to go, and their memories of going to places and memories of travelling on trains, all this kind of stuff that we simply weren't allowed to do during COVID. So I suppose I was making an alternative reality that could work quite well. Well, I think I did make the music first, but it was in view to possibly having visuals with it. But I work with, when I do work, I just amass material anyway, you know, so I have, like, I suppose a bank of sound recordings that I make and a bank of visuals that I make. So then it's a question of, well, I think I'm going to, you know, I'm going to try and construct something, put something together now. So the Invisible Future soundtrack was, I think I put together first, and then added it to the visuals I wanted to use with it, and then it became quite an organic practice. But in some cases, not all the visuals always worked all the time, so it was a very complex piece of work. Also using some of the field recordings, not very good ones, that had been taken with the video that I'd shot at the time, and weaving that in and out of the soundtrack. There are places that I've been to. Some of either seaside, I think Whitstable, then some of the stills are from car journeys that I made last year driving through Sussex with someone, and then some of the water shots I took at Canary Wharf and some of the fountains there, because I had been working at Canary Wharf a number of years ago, but I always felt very claustrophobic there. So that is sometimes why they've got little gardens with water fountains, which is why I photographed or videoed those fountains. So that's, like I said, you know, I just build up a stock of stuff I might want to use and might be useful. And then also walking through leaves and things like that. So I spend a lot of time at Kew Gardens, so again, just amassing video and still images from there. Well, I mean, I was doing moving image way before I was doing the sound stuff, which is quite interesting. I'd always done experimental stuff, and back in the day I was using really shit quality phones that had, you know, maybe 5 megapixel quality of video and pictures. So I was using that and making that, and then I suppose when I started, and a lot of those films, actually I think they were silent, I can't remember. And then when I started getting into, I made some terrible soundtracks by using GarageBand on, because it's all I had access to, really cheesy soundtracks. And then when I started to get into sound, my soundtracks changed, but then I also then stopped making moving image, because I had this inner dialogue. Well, you know, when I go and listen to stuff, I want to listen to stuff. I don't want to see any moving image or anything really. And so that was an issue for me, because I didn't know whether I wanted to have moving image with my stuff. So for a while, I just projected a still image, because I like this idea of suggesting an environment with one image. And because my stuff is quite hypnotic, as you probably know, you know, a lot of people sort of close their eyes when they listen to my stuff. So I thought, well, if they suddenly, you know, wake up from something, they can look at the wall and there's that image, and they'll go back, a still image, and then they'll go back to listening to my stuff again. And then with this was completely, I was interested in marrying the sound, so it was a soundtracked movie. I'm not sure whether or not I would show this in a sound environment. I don't know, because I mean, as we presented it in your gallery, it's pretty much a sound, an installation. No, yes, I intend to. I mean, I'm thinking a lot at the moment about what the next one will be, but I'm not breaking my butt over it, because I also, you know, want to make some more sound stuff as well. But sometimes I find if I'm not into doing the sound, then I'll do moving image, or vice versa. So I always have to be doing something. I don't really describe it as anything, but the subject matter is always the same. It's about displacement and dislocation, so it's generally about cities. And when I put kind of like bucolic kind of images in, it's this, well, I need to escape from the city to the country. So it's always that kind of like tension, and that always runs throughout. But I don't know I wouldn't like to say what the aesthetic is. But it always tends to be moving image and still images, because I just find it really beautiful to the transitions that you can make with still images into moving, and, you know, setting this kind of quite hypnotic utopian environment.